All right, let's get into it. We're going to build a step-by-step guide to solving those completely maddening, unexplained Windows crashes and freezes. You know, the ones. We've all been there, and today we're going to learn how to fight back methodically.
Does this sound familiar? Oh yeah. 1 minute everything's fine, you're getting work done, and the next, boom. A random update, a sudden freeze, and your PC is basically a very expensive paperweight. It feels totally random, but I promise you, it doesn't have to be.
So your PC crashed. What now? The temptation is to just start clicking around, trying random things, hoping you get lucky. Nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to use a clear, logical process I call the diagnostic funnel. We'll start with the safest and easiest checks and work our way down to the heavy-duty repairs. We're going to go from being a PC detective to a full-on PC surgeon.
Okay, level 1. Before we break out any complex tools, we're going to start with some basic system housekeeping. Seriously, don't skip these. You would be absolutely shocked how many mysterious problems are solved right here.
First up, we need to talk about a little feature called Windows Fast Startup. Now here's the thing. By default, when you click Shut Down, you're not actually getting a full shutdown. Windows kinda cheats. It saves a chunk of your system's state to a file, so it's really part shutdown, part hibernation. This can cause all sorts of weirdness, like updates not applying correctly, or driver glitches that just never seem to go away.
And the best part? Turning it off is super easy. It's actually one of the first things I do on any new Windows machine. Just follow these steps, and you'll guarantee that every single time you shut down, you're getting a completely fresh start the next time you boot up. This one little change can make a world of difference.
Okay, next up is our secret weapon, our primary diagnostic environment, Safe Mode. I want you to think of Safe Mode as the emergency room for your PC. It loads Windows with only the absolute bare essentials, just the critical drivers and services it needs to run, nothing extra. This makes it the perfect clean environment to figure out what's going wrong.
Getting into Safe Mode is pretty straightforward, but here's the real magic, the key takeaway. If your computer runs perfectly in Safe Mode, but it's a crashing mess in normal mode, you can be almost 100% certain that a third-party program is the culprit. It's either a bad driver or some software that's loading its startup. You've just narrowed down the list of suspects immensely.
All right, let's move on to level 2. Now that we know how to get into a stable environment, it's time to put on our detective hats and start looking for clues. We're going hunting for the actual culprit.
So, where do we find these clues? In the Windows Event Viewer. This tool is basically the black box flight recorder for your computer. Every single time something important happens, and especially when something goes wrong, like a crash, Windows makes a note of it here. We just have to know how to read it.
When you're in the Event Viewer, you're looking for critical and error events that happened right around the time of your last crash. Specifically, keep an eye out for these event IDs. An ID 41, for example, is the classic "the power got pulled" event. These logs will often give you specific error codes that you can then Google. They are golden clues.
Okay, so what if you suspect it's a software conflict, but Safe Mode is a little too basic? That's where a clean boot comes in. It's kind of like a halfway point between normal mode and Safe Mode. It gives you much more granular control over what you're disabling.
Here's how it works. You use a tool called msconfig, and the trick is to first check the box that says Hide all Microsoft services. We don't want to mess with those. Then you disable everything else. If your problem disappears, you know it's one of those services. From there, you can re-enable them one by one or in small groups until the crash comes back. It's like interrogating suspects until one of them confesses.
So what happens when all our detective work points inward? What if it's not some third-party app, but Windows itself that's the problem? Well, that's when we take off the detective hat, put on some scrubs, and escalate to level 3. It's time to perform surgery on the operating system itself.
Now for this surgery, we have a two-part command line team, SFC and DSM. Here's how to think about them. SFC is the scanner. It goes through all your important system files and checks them for corruption. But to do that, it needs a reliable library of what those files should look like. That's where DSM comes in. DSM is the librarian. It repairs that source library itself. See? They work together. You can't have a good scanner if the library it's using is corrupt.
And because of that relationship, this next part is non-negotiable. You always run the DISM command first. Always. This command tells the librarian to go check its books, repair the master library, and make sure the component store that SFC relies on is healthy and intact.
After DISM has done its job and the library is clean, then you run the scanner. SFC/Scan Now. Now that SFC has a perfect reference to check against, it can go through your system, find any corrupted files, and replace them with known good ones. Running these two commands in this specific order is the absolute cornerstone of Windows system repair.
Okay, deep breath. What if the patient is still on the table? What if our standard surgery didn't work and the problem is still there? Well, for those really stubborn issues, we have to move to level 4. These are high-impact tools, and they come with a few more risks.
Let's start with what many call the nuclear option for graphics problems, Display Driver Uninstaller, or DDU. This thing doesn't just uninstall your graphics drivers, oh no, it scours your system and absolutely obliterates every single file, folder, and registry key related to them. It's incredibly effective for solving those persistent, nagging graphics-related crashes, but you absolutely have to use it correctly from safe mode.
Another advanced tool is a BIOS update. Now, this one comes with a big flashing warning sign. The BIOS is the most fundamental software on your computer. It's what boots your hardware. As you can see, the decision tree is simple. You only update it if you have a very specific reason, like you're adding a new CPU that needs support, or it patches a security flaw you're worried about. A power outage during a BIOS update can literally brick your motherboard, so the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, could not be more true here.
So, let's bring it all together. Let's recap the entire diagnostic funnel we've just built. This is your brand new toolkit for tackling pretty much any Windows stability issue that gets thrown at you.
Remember the order, it's key. Level 1, start with the simple housekeeping. Level 2, put on your detective hat and isolate the problem. Level 3, if clues point to Windows, perform surgery with DISM and SFC, and only then, as a last resort, do you consider the Level 4 heavy hitters. Following this funnel methodically is how you solve problems safely and, believe it or not, quickly.
And look, this framework is fantastic for fixing a PC that's already on the fritz, but it begs a much more important question, doesn't it? What's the best way to keep your PC from breaking in the first place? Because that's where the real pro move comes in. Things like preventative maintenance and, most importantly, system image backups, which act as your ultimate safety net, your get-out-of-jail-free card to restore a perfect system in just a few minutes.